Let's make bubble wands. So what you see in front of you is a little rocket bubble wand that I made earlier today. Who doesn't want to make bubble wands and blow bubbles? That sounds like a lot of fun. So let's go over how we make something like this. So first of all, let me go back into my area here with my examples. We're going to start by making the handle for this. And so I just have some quick examples of what you can do with your handle. So we're going to start by using a box as the main part of our handle. But then you can be as creative as you want for what you put on the end of your handle. Now this is not the bubble wand right here. This is the bubble wand part's going to go at the top of these. These are like the bottom handle in this case. So this is like the example where the rocket was on the other side over here. But I just took a star here. I took the torus. I even found a cell phone pre-made thing in TinkerCAD and shrunk it down to the right size here. I used the letters to make my name here, making sure that the letters are all connected together. But you can get as creative as you want to get when you talk about the handle of your bubble wand. And let's go ahead and start by making the handle, and then we'll worry about what's going to go on top of it in the next step here. So in TinkerCAD, go to your design area and create a new design. Name it right away. So I'm going to call this Pasifumi Bubble Wand. You should put your own name there. All right, so to make the handle, we're going to bring out a box, and here are the dimensions of the box. You can stretch it if you want, or you can type the values in. We are going to make the box 65 as a length. We are going to make it 5 as a width, and then the height of it, we're going to make that 2.4. So here is our basic handle that we are going to use. Now again, I'm not going to go over making the bottom part except to give you a couple of pointers. Number one, any shapes that you choose for the bottom part need to be flat on the top and the bottom. So for example, the sphere here would be a bad choice because you might be tempted to say, well, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up like this, but then this is going to print poorly. So this must stay on the work plane. Okay, our base of it here has got to stay on the work plane, so the z-axis should be at 0. So bring out shapes that fit. Feel free to explore, go through all these different categories, make your own shape by combining other shapes, whatever you want to do. Be as creative as you want to be. There's virtually limitless opportunity. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and use a star for my handle here. And you can see the star is a little too large. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to shrink this so it shrinks in all dimensions at the same time so that it doesn't get out of proportion until I get it to about the right size. Now I don't have an accurate, like it must be this large or this big or whatever, but you know, this would be way too big for it. You want it to look proportional to the size of the handle. I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to leave it off. I could rotate it so that it perfectly lines up, but I don't really want to. I want to leave it off center a little bit, give it a little bit of dimension. And I'm just going to go ahead then and make sure that the height is about that 2.4. There are objects you might put at the end that you want to be a little bit taller. Like I did the letters of my name a little bit taller so they would stand out a little bit more, but it shouldn't be much difference than that 2.4. I'm going to align it so that these are in the center. Even though I have it off center a little bit, that's okay. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to make the star a little taller, actually. So this way, when it prints, so I'm just going to make it 3. So it's just a little bit taller than that 2.4, and then I'm going to group it. So this way, you can see when I look at it, you can see how the edge of that star is a little bit taller than the holder, than the stem there, so that'll work out just fine. Okay, so next now, we need to get something at the top. So we're actually going to use another website for this. I'm going to go to a website called thenowproject.com. I will have a link for you in Google Classroom. Now, the one thing on this site is, so basically you're searching icons here. You are going to have to create an account. Just use your school account. It'll be a free account. We don't get all the rights and privileges that you get with paying for the account, but we don't really need it for this project right here. So the first thing I'm going to warn you is that some of the icons you find, they're just not going to work. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. But basically, there's, I don't know, thousands. Oh, it says over 5 million icons here. So something you like, go ahead and type it in. So, of course, I like bulldog, so I would type in a bulldog, and I look through this list. And I've already downloaded a couple, and I'm going to show you why they didn't quite work out the way I hoped that they would work out. But I'm going to download one more right now. So again, you're going to have to join this with your Google account. I don't think you need to join though until you go to download it. But I'm going to go ahead and download this one. I haven't downloaded this one yet. So once you click on it, you're going to click Get This Icon. You're going to choose Basic Download, and I think this is where it's going to make you join, and click Continue. You're going to download the SVG version of this. When you download it, make sure you know where it's going on your computer. You're on a Chromebook. I'm on a regular computer here. I'm going to call this Bulldog 3 SVG. Just remember where it goes. It should be in your download folder on your Chromebook. All right, then going back to TinkerCAD, and take some time to download stuff there, by the way. I know I'm rushing through this right now. I'm going to click on Import. And I'm going to choose a file, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to choose one I know that does not work. So on my desktop, the first Bulldog does not work. So I'm going to bring that one in. When you bring it in, leave artboard set, leave scale 100%. The dimensions, though, these are way too large. Let's go 75 and 75, and then we can size it from there if it doesn't quite work. And I'm going to click Import. Now, when it comes in, it's going to come in fully like this. Now, obviously, this would not work. Let me move it out of the way here, because all these little pieces that aren't connected to anything would get rid of and would fall off the piece. And really, we're focusing on the outer picture, the outer outline of it. We're going to lose all this detail in the center. So with the item selected, with the shape selected, come over to the shape dialog here. And where it says Fill Mode Default, you can play around with these, but I have found that inner line works best. Silhouette does not work because what it's going to do is going to fill it in completely. That's no good. Outer line for this shape does not work. It gets a weird thing. See that little weird part right there? I don't even know why it does that. But inner line is going to work, but then I realized that you can't really even tell what it is anymore. Now you might notice that my lines are a little kind of thick and bulky. I'm going to bring down the line width a little bit. I'm going to turn it down to 2 in this case. The value you change it to will depend on your shape. Okay, it's still a little too large, so I'm going to hold Shift down and shrink it down. So when I was playing with this one originally, I was like, well, you can't even really tell it's a Bulldog anymore. So I didn't really like this one. So I ended up deleting it. And I'll show you the one that I ended up bringing in that worked a little bit better. So I'm going to go Import, choose File. I'm going to choose Bulldog 2. I know this one works. Let me go ahead and do Bulldog 3 and just see what this one looks like, because I haven't tried this one yet. And once it brings it in, I'm going to go ahead and change that fill mode to inner line, and I'm going to change the line width to, again, I'm going to change it to 1.5 actually. But again, now that I look at it, I know this one's no good either. Is this a mouse? Is it a dog? I don't know. So this one doesn't work either. So you might find this when you bring some in, they just don't end up working the way that you hope that they'll work. So let me go one more time with one I know works, and I'm going to go with Bulldog 2 in this case. And I'm going to, again, let's do 75 and 75. I'm going to click Import. And then once it comes in, now you might say, can I just do it like this? I mean, maybe, but again, I have some pieces here that would end up falling off, so it doesn't quite work. Maybe your shape, you don't even need to do it with it. But I'm going to go ahead and do the inner line. And again, that's going to get rid of all that detail inside of it eventually here. And I'm going to go ahead and do a line width of 1.5. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's not too bad. Now I'm going to go ahead. Now it's way too tall. I'm going to go ahead and bring down that. Well, actually, before I do that, if this is too large or too small, I'm going to hold the Shift key down and make it bigger or smaller so it stays in proportion. I'm holding Shift. So I'm going to get it to about the size that I want. And then what I'm going to do is it's way too tall, so I'm going to bring it down again to about that 2.4. So 3 is okay. I'll do 2.5 though, see what that looks like. And let me select it again. There's a couple things over here. Quality, I'm going to turn that all the way up. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what it does. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to mess with height though, because I'm going to control the height manually. All right, so now the key is when you have your shape selected, you need to figure out how you're going to attach it. Like it needs to solidly attach to the base. You wouldn't want to just barely have it touching, okay? And again, the fact that it's off center is fine. Maybe you need to rotate it around a little bit to get an edge to line up the way that you want. You can be pretty creative with this here. So I'm trying to just get as much of the outline that's going to connect to my connect to the holder. Why can't I think of the word? Connect to the base of it, to the wand part of it. Let me go ahead and I'm going to rotate this a little bit more. I think that looks great because with all of this connected here, that's going to be perfect. All right, so let me group it. Before I'm deciding to turn this in, I'm going to do a double check here and make sure that everything's on the work plane, everything is solidly connected, that I'm happy with it. Now, before you send it to me, though, here's what you need to do. Once it's completely grouped, look at it from above and click on a corner, and here are the rules. I'm talking about the height here, the length here, the biggest number. The width is going to should be fine, but your length, it needs to be between 100 and 120. It cannot be larger than 120. So if it is, you might need to ungroup and make some adjustments. I wouldn't suggest like squishing it like this. That wouldn't end up being a good idea. You might just need to ungroup and resize, reposition things and get it together. So between 100 and 120 for this long axis right here in order for it to be acceptable to be printed. So take your time. You know, this site again, I might have ended up deciding that bulldogs didn't work very well, so I might try, I don't know, llama. I don't know. Just have some fun. There's 5 million things here. So see if you can find some cool things to bring in as part of your bubble wand. And when you're ready to turn it in, follow all instructions for saving things correctly and getting them turned in, both to be printed and for a grade. All right, good luck, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.